expose the truth, to ask key questions about what happened on January 6th, who animated the violence, the extent to which the federal government may have been involved. We know this. January 6th last year wasn't an insurrection. No one has been charged with insurrection. No one has been charged with treason. But it very well may have been a Fedsurrection. We are very concerned that we have sent letter after letter to Attorney General Garland and FBI Director Wray to simply get to the bottom of unexplained circumstances where people are on the FBI most wanted list from January 6th, and then they fall off of that list. FBI Director Wray was asked under oath before the Congress about the federal assets and agents that were on the ground on January 6th, and he wouldn't provide clear answers. Attorney General Garland was asked in the Judiciary Committee by my colleague Thomas Massey about Ray Epps. He could have cleared up that circumstance and resolved these questions, but he declined to do so. It seems that senior officials in our Justice Department have no problem giving long speeches to try to politically target and smear those they disagree with, but they don't answer the questions that can get to the truth of what really happened on January 6th. I want to credit the reporting at Revolver News for having aggregated a number of the videos that I'm going to go through now that I think continue to ripen these very deep concerns that Congresswoman Green and I have, and I would ask you to play the first clip.
We need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol. I don't even like to say it because I'll be arrested. Well, let's not say we need to go. All right, we need to go in to the Capitol. We need to go into the Capitol. I didn't see that coming. Okay.
Monument Hill.
No, one more thing.
Yeah, so can we go up there? No?
When we go in,
Are we going to get arrested if we go up there?
you don't need to get
Did you
shot.
arrest us all?
This is the very last thing that happens before the breach. You've got Ray Epps whispering into this guy's ear, and this is the moment of breach. You know, if you were the January 6th committee, wouldn't you want to know what Ray Epps whispered into that individual's ear? And here, this is the moment of breach. Epps, part of the breach squad. So, I mean, this is just the information that has been pieced together by citizens, by small media outlets. Imagine if we actually had the powers of the January 6th committee, the powers of the federal government to understand why Ray Epps, the evening of the 5th, is out telling people dispassionately, professionally, with laser focus that the objective is to enter the United States Capitol building. And then on the 6th, it's not the Proud Boys who engage in the initial breach. It's Ray Epps at that precise moment. Now, Ray Epps was originally on the FBI's list of most wanted individuals after the initial events on January 6th. But then the day after, Revolver News publishes an explosive report about Stuart Rhodes, who's involved with the Oath Keepers, then all of a sudden Ray Epps' name falls off the list. We've sent letters asking questions about that unexplainable circumstance, and the FBI and the Justice Department have given us no illuminating information. But it wasn't just Ray Epps who appears to be on video animating violence this day in the absence of consequence. Please play the next clip. Here you have fence being cut, removed by this individual right here with the backpack. Look, professionally, not whooped up in the crowd, just taking fence down. Now, just moments ago, Congresswoman Green and I went to this specific location outside, and we demonstrated how easy it could have been that an individual might have listened to the president's remarks, arrived at the breach site, seen that fencing was removed, and then might have been drawn into a place that they weren't supposed to be and maybe never intended to be. But that individual, the fence cutter that we saw in that last video, nowhere on the FBI's wanted list. No evidence that person's been questioned. January 6th committee doesn't want to talk to them. Why would that person be doing something that so dramatically impacted the acuity of the criminal conduct and then no consequence? But they weren't alone. In an elevated position, on the top of scaffolding that had been set up for the media for observance of that day, we have someone the internet has kind of identified as scaffold commander, giving persistent instruction to the crowd that had gathered. Play the next clip. And the next clip, I believe, is also. And the next image. And it's not like we don't know who this guy is. The very individual who is directing the crowd to fill the Capitol with persistence, with focus, is this person. I saw recently that the federal government is engaged in all type of contracting services with facial recognition companies, and you're telling me they can't find this guy in what Attorney General Garland and Director Wray say is the most expansive, the most comprehensive investigation in America's history? Look, there may be a perfectly good explanation for why these individuals, appearing to act in concert of purpose, have had very bizarre lacking in their interaction with the federal government, but we deserve those answers. And tens of millions of Americans should not be targeted and smeared and lied about until we get them. Congresswoman Green and I were not on the grounds this day. We did not speak at the Ellipse this day because she and I had a very specific focus for the debate. Congressman Jordan was preparing to lead a floor effort where different teams would present affidavits and evidence and legal precedent and would review judicial rulings that we thought missed the point of jurisdiction. We were ready to go make those arguments on the floor, on television, for all of America to see as part of our objection to electors from states that we did not believe ran clean elections. We wanted to point out the unilateral changes that occurred in election law that we thought were unconstitutional and illegal. And Congresswoman Green and I were working together specifically on the state of Michigan. So we did not show up on January 6th cheerleading for, hoping for any type of violence or disruption. To the contrary, we wanted to follow the constitutional process to be able to make our arguments, and unfortunately, that was the true disruption of what occurred on January 6th. I mean, Joe Biden's certification still occurred on January 6th, but we were deprived of the opportunity to make our argument to the country about election integrity. And that is the very same constitutional process that was contemplated when Jim McGovern, the Democrat chairman of the Rules Committee, literally got up and objected in 2017 to the state of Alabama, a state that Donald Trump won by over 40 points. So when they do it, they're making a principled point, and when we do it, they try to smear us and tens of millions of Americans as insurrectionists. And that's why Marjorie and I are here today, because we did not want the Republican voice to go unheard, and we did not want today's historical narrative to be hijacked and captured by those who were the true insurrectionists.